Hey everybody, you watching Park Pass. My name is Chris.
And I'm Amanda. Thank you so much for being here today. We are breaking down the top 5 Disney parks in the world.
Let's do this. And there's a reason why we're doing this.
There is a big reason.
There's a huge reason for doing this. It's because I have been to 11 of the 12 Disneyland parks.
Around the world.
Around the world. And the one that I'm missing is Shanghai. See how I got high there? Shanghai. I have not been to Shanghai Disney, and I will be going at the end of February. I'm so excited. Finally, I'll be able to cross it off the list of visiting every single Disney park. And once I've done that, we will rank all the Disney parks from top, like all 12 of them.
We will power rank them, every single Disney park in the world from worst to best. But as a little warm up to that, we do have a lot of thoughts of the other Disney parks that we have visited, and we have gathered them into a top 5. And I love our list.
Let's do it. Let's top 5. But before we even get started that, let's just go ahead and do our introductions. My name is Chris.
And I'm Amanda.
And you guys are watching Park Pass. And the first thing you have to do is hit the subscribe button.
Thank you so much. That helps us a ton. Make sure that subscribe button is clicked.
Wait a minute. Did you really hit the subscribe button? Okay, let's continue on with the video then.
Awesome. Okay, so we have some criteria that we are breaking down these Disney parks to rank them. We didn't just choose randomly.
It's not willy-nilly.
We have 5 different categories that we ranked them on. The first category that we'll be talking about is the atmosphere.
Okay.
The atmosphere of this Disney park. Second one is attractions.
Very important.
Huge part of Disney parks. Third is food.
It's so crazy to me. Food has become very important to the park experience lately. I mean,
it used to not be.
Yeah, but now it's very important. So
when I was a child, we never ate at Disneyland. It just wasn't yummy, and now they've really upped their game. And some of these parks have some awesome foods we'll be talking about.
Okay.
Number 4, shows.
Shows and entertainment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And number 5, the overall guest experience. And what falls into that category would be the cost, the overall value of it, the lines, how it is waiting in lines, how the cast members treat you. All of that is just your overall vibes of your visit.
Perfect. Okay, so let's do the top 5 best Disney parks around the world. And the criteria again, just to do again, number 1, atmosphere, 2, attractions, 3, food, 4, shows, and 5, your overall guest experience.
Yes, and we also have a little exciting thing that we're doing. We're going to be doing a giveaway in this video. I have loved doing these videos with you guys. I read every single comment that comes through on these videos that we do, these little podcast videos.
Yes.
And so at the end of the video, we're going to be giving away a $25 Disney gift card. This is not sponsored or endorsed, anything like that. This is just our gift to you. Thank you for being here.
Let's go. Gift card.
Yes, and we'll explain how to win at the end of this video. But also, as we go through, I want all of your opinions about the different Disney parks that we're talking about. Maybe you agree with our rankings. Maybe you disagree. Maybe there's something that we missed that you would love to throw in about a Disney park that we're talking about. Maybe you have strong feelings about which Disney park should be number 1. Again, I read and respond to your comments personally, so interact with us.
Right.
We love it.
Perfect. And I just want to say this. If you get a heart, like if your comment gets a heart, that's from Amanda. Amanda's the only one that's able to give those hearts out.
Bink.
Nobody else can do that, give those hearts out.
I'll give hearts out to all of you.
I know this is always so controversial, like you said, we're going to do these top 5 lists because people always get upset because their favorite park might not be on this list. And if your favorite park's not on this list, explain to us why in the comments, why it should have been and why we overlooked it.
Yeah, some of these might be controversial.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it. Number 5.
I feel like we got to do a drum roll.
The number 5 best Disney park in the world is
Epcot.
Epcot is located at Walt Disney World.
In Florida.
It's one of 4 main parks that they have. And Epcot, let's talk about the atmosphere of Epcot.
All right, I think this is a little bit of maybe a shock for some people that this cracked the top 5.
I don't know. Tell me.
The atmosphere of Epcot, I think, is really interesting. It's kind of polarizing because you got 2 major things there. You have the World Showcase.
Yes.
The World Showcase atmosphere is amazing.
Yes.
It is so fun. That's where you have all the different countries there that are going, different countries that you can visit. And then you have just the other part of Epcot, with the future world area. And that atmosphere, I think, is good, but I wouldn't say it's fantastic.
No, Epcot is interesting because it is shaped like a figure 8, and they are pretty contrasting. They almost feel like 2 separate parks in one. The area that I feel like has the best atmosphere, like you said, is the World Showcase.
Yes.
You can just stroll around that circle. enjoying your time,
Yeah.
looking at the water, feeling the breeze. The
Mhm.
trees are beautiful. And the ways that they've designed the countries are just absolutely gorgeous and immersive. And so the atmosphere at the World Showcase is wonderful.
Yeah, at the World Showcase. All right, so let's move on to number 2, attractions.
Attractions at Epcot, I feel like they have some really incredible attractions. They don't have a ton, but what they do have can be really awesome. The Ratatouille ride located in the
Yes.
France Pavilion is wonderful. It's a darling attraction
Yeah.
that's a trackless system. They take advantage of all of your senses. They blow heat on you when you're in the oven.
Yes.
You smell the food like bread baking when you're in the kitchen areas. The rats are, of course, adorable. You
Yeah.
sit in the little rat mobile. It's a really interactive, beautiful attraction.
And of course you got the Guardians of the Galaxy
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mission Breakout. No,
No.
I'm sorry. Oh, whoa. Cosmic Rewind.
Cosmic
Holy
Rewind
cow.
is hands down the best attraction that I feel like is at Epcot.
Yeah.
This is one of the only attractions in the world that makes me feel like a little kid again.
Yeah.
It is that fun. You raise your hands, you listen to the music. There's different tracks that they'll play, different music that they'll play, and you can really let loose and have that childlike joy
Wait,
again.
were you just saying though you feel like this is the best attraction of all the Disney parks?
Oh, for Epcot.
Oh, just for Epcot.
Yes.
That might be really another fun video you should do, Amanda. You should come up
Mm.
with like the 10 best attractions
In the world.
In the world. Like,
Let's do it. If you guys want me to do that, please let me know in the comments below. Say, please do that video.
say, dude, top 10 attractions in the comments down below.
No,
Top 10
that's
attractions.
This attraction is just the only one that makes me feel like a little kid
Okay,
again.
okay.
In the world, really, this is the best.
Perfect. Yeah, and
for
it's
that
a fantastic
childlike
attraction. They have
joy.
good. I mean, the thing about Epcot is they have some great attractions. But it's not. But that's not what Epcot's known for.
No,
Epcot's known for,
the food. The food.
and I feel like this is just my thought, and I feel like if you were ranking all the parks around the world just off of food, Epcot would be number 1, and it'd be so far ahead of every other theme park that it's like in the stratosphere, right?
Yes.
It's in outer space, and nothing comes close to Epcot's food choices.
So the food is why Epcot was put on the map.
Okay.
It almost didn't make the top 5, but it's the food. Like Chris said, you had that huge, it would be in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
This is what brought it to the number 5 because all of the different countries in the
Mhm.
World Showcase offer foods from their different countries. The cast members there, are speaking their languages. They
Yeah.
know the food. So when you talk to them, you can say, hey, which food do you recommend? They know it. They know which food to recommend.
It reminds me because we were just down there and going through
Yes.
Epcot, and we went into
Mhm.
the German pavilion.
Germany, yes.
Yeah, the German pavilion. And we walked into that caramel shop,
Mhm.
and all the cast members who worked there, they're from Germany. And the one guy was like, "Oh my gosh, Park Pass!" He was so excited, and he recommended us to.
He recommended
yeah.
us the caramel apple bar.
Yeah,
And it was something that we would not have chosen
Never.
on our own, and it was delicious.
he goes, "If you want the true German experience, get the
Mhm.
caramel apple bar." I never would have bought that, but it was amazing.
No, so for food, whether you're eating your meal, your lunch, dinner, breakfast, desserts,
Yeah.
or even drinks, Epcot stands above.
It's
the
funny to
rest.
me because our son, when we go to like Florida, he wants to go to Epcot because he wants to go to Japan.
Right.
Because he loves ramen noodles and he
Right.
wants to get the ramen noodles there, and he loves the noodles. And it's just Epcot, their food variety is so far ahead. Now I see exactly why they put it into number 5.
Delicious.
Now, what about shows?
Now, shows at Epcot, I feel like is ranked a little bit lower.
Yeah.
They did have their water show, but
Yeah.
they took that out.
Yeah,
And other than that, they have some shows in the World Showcase. You can go watch a video of Canada, which is nice,
Yeah.
but let's move on from shows.
okay.
The overall guest experience is number 5. And I feel like the overall guest experience at Epcot is pretty good.
I think so too. I think you're going to get a good experience at Epcot. I feel like the cost and the lines aren't usually too bad. That you've seen the food and the attractions are great. I think the overall guest experience is a very positive one at Epcot. And so, but like you were saying, the food pushes this park. No other park even comes close to
Right.
this food option.
And I will push back just a little bit on the overall guest experience as far as lines go. You do have the opportunity to purchase the Lightning Lane, but we were just there last week during the busiest time
Yeah,
of the year. And we did not ride a single attraction because the lines were very long. And that kind of goes into there's
Mhm.
really not a ton of attractions there. The big ones are good, but it can get crowded, but that's okay. If you don't ride any rides at Epcot, you can still have a great time. So
Yeah.
it's kind of that balancing
Perfect.
effect.
All right, let's move on to the number 4 best Disney park in the world.
In
and that
the
is,
world. Drum roll, another one.
Yep.
Disneyland Paris.
Ooh, boy. This, you are
This-
going, people are going to be, either they're going to love it or they're going to be
Yes.
super angry at you for this.
This is probably one of our most controversial answers.
Yes.
And I definitely want to hear your opinions, because I do have to say, I have to be honest here. When I talk to people, we meet a lot of people when we're visiting Disney parks.
Yeah.
And I wear a lot of Disneyland Paris merchandise.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite merchandise. And people will come up and say, "What did you think of Disneyland Paris?" I say, "I love it." And they say, "Oh, we did not like it." I think 4 out of 5 people that I talk to about Disneyland Paris really have problems with this park. And so we're going to talk about it.
I don't know if it's quite that high. I think it really, the Disneyland Paris is a very, is the right word, divisive? Is people either they seem to love it or they don't love it.
Yeah.
But I have some interesting history I learned about Disneyland Paris. I think I might understand why that might be.
Right.
Disneyland Paris is usually the very first foreign theme park. When I say foreign, I'm talking about Americans.
Okay.
It's the very first foreign theme park that Americans visit.
Right.
It's usually Disneyland Paris. That's the one that they go to first.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when people go to it, they want Disneyland Paris to be exactly the same as Disneyland,
Right.
and it's not. So people have a hard time adjusting to that. If you go in with the mindset that it's going to be different, then people seem to walk away having the best experience at Disneyland Paris.
Yes, and we absolutely adore it. So let's break down
Okay.
why
did you put it?
love
Why is this in
Disneyland
top?
Paris.
Why is this number 4?
Yes, why it made it
All right.
a spot
So
here.
the atmosphere of Disneyland Paris.
Atmosphere of Disneyland Paris is wonderful. If I had to think of a color that feels like Disneyland Paris, it's pink. It's just beautiful and cozy and warm and lovely. The grounds are just beautiful. It's spread out. The trees are gorgeous. The atmosphere of it feels really, really good in that park.
The thing that's also, I don't know if this will make sense, the weather doesn't affect the atmosphere at Disneyland Paris. It doesn't matter if it's raining or if it's hot or windy.
Right.
It always feels like it's meant, the park was designed for whatever's happening.
That's true.
And so it's really cool. I love that. So the atmosphere, I think there is one park we'll get to a little later on that has a higher, better atmosphere than Disneyland Paris. But the atmosphere is very high. Okay, attractions.
Attractions is really what stands out to me for Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
The attractions that they do right, they really do excellent. The Big Thunder Mountain at Disneyland Paris is hands down the best Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in the world. It's the best one. It has its own private island, and you go underneath the water in tunnels to get to that island. You do the ride, and then it takes you back, and it's so much fun.
What's kind of fun for me is like when I do talk to people, I'm like, did you like Disneyland Paris? When I ask you about it, and they're like, oh yeah, it was okay. And then I start asking them about the rides, attractions they went on. Every single time they're like, oh my gosh, they're like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Space Mountain, Phantom Manor. They always are.
That's when their face lights up.
Yeah, that's when their face lights up when they start talking about the attractions. And I think that because in my mind, and I love Disneyland, but I think if you go head to head, like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Disneyland to Disneyland Paris wins. There's Space Mountain.
Space Mountain, Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, it's Disneyland. There's their Hyperspace Mountain. It's Star Wars themed, but you got loops in it. You got corkscrews in it. It also, I think their Phantom Manor is better than our Haunted Mansion.
Very unique experience at Phantom Manor.
So I think it's got some amazing attractions.
And don't forget Pirates. Even their Pirates of the Caribbean is excellent.
Okay,
and it's a different kind of storyline. It's almost in reverse, but the way that it flows, it's really awesome.
Yeah, so I think their attractions is probably some of the best of all the theme parks.
Right.
And I really, really like that. And plus, they're going to be getting some new ones. And so it's always a big exciting for them to grow that way.
And their castle, I'm also going to put as an attraction because their castle has a walkthrough. It's really cool and immersive. There's some secrets to that castle, and there's a dragon under the castle, which is so unique.
Freaking dragon. Not like, and it's amazing. And the castle, you have the dungeon where the dragon is, you have the main floor where there's the shops, and then you have the upper floor with the walkthrough.
It's wonderful.
And that also goes into the atmosphere. It's the best castle of all the castles.
Okay, now let's talk about the food at Disneyland Paris. This is what brings it down a little bit. And most people complain to me about the food. And when I think about food at Disneyland Paris, we actually only survive. I feel like we only survive off of 2.5 food options there. The first one, crepes, which is awesome. You're
Yeah.
in France.
They don't have churros, right? But they have the crepe
That's
parks.
true. They do have
The
crepes
crepe
in
parks
the
at the
park.
park, which is so
Yes.
unique. So there, you got the crepes.
You have the crepes.
Yeah.
So that's the first food we live off of. And the second food we live off of are the sandwiches, the croque monsieurs.
Yeah, the croque monsieur is, well, there's two sandwiches here. You got the croque monsieur off of Main Street, which is the best sandwich in all the parks, even better than Epcot's meatball sub, which you know how much I love the Epcot meatball
Right.
sub. That is, and they also have these little food carts by It's a Small World, and they have what's called the raclette, and it's this little teeny tiny baguette, and they scrape hot melted cheese into it, and then put ham on it, and then fold it over. You eat it. It's amazing. But
so it's those ham and cheese toasty sandwiches,
yeah, so
second
good.
food group that we live off of. And then the little half is popcorn.
Like you're saying, though, I think what you're going to say is I'm maybe jumping the gun here, but after that, it's
There's
pretty.
there's
it's
nothing
generic, yeah.
really. I can't think of any other food that we eat there, and there's nothing else that I would recommend. So we truly live off of crepes and the toasty sandwiches.
Yeah, that's very true.
The little popcorn on the
All
side.
right, so what about shows at Disneyland Paris?
Shows at Disneyland Paris, excellent. This is another reason why I bumped it up to our top 5 list.
Yeah.
They have a drone show over the
Yes.
castle with their fireworks. And you guys, this brings chills. This brings tears. This brings joy. It is incredible.
Yeah, I think so too. Their drone show is absolutely amazing. Their fireworks is a lot of fun. The music is great because the way they do the drone show, they do the drone show first. And then the second the drone show stops, and then it rolls right into the fireworks show. And it's amazing.
The drones are incredible. It's something that I wish they would bring to more Disney parks.
They're going to. They have to. Because
Oh, it's so much fun.
So good, they have to bring it.
It was the electrical light parade, but as a drone show. The other types of shows that they have that people really love and get into, they're parades. I love Disneyland Paris parades. You guys, they are so much fun. They're so much fun. The audience gets into these parades, and the audience starts doing the dances that the characters and that performers are doing. And so the interactiveness of their parades to me is second to none.
And for those of you who are familiar with Disneyland, I want you to visualize Main Street, walking down Main Street. As you get to right in front of there's where the partner statue is. You see Walt and Mickey together right in the center, right?
Okay.
Well, in Disneyland Paris, they have that same circle, like the hub, but in that center, it's open. And that's where, and they have 4 stages there. And when the parade sometimes will stop, and the characters will get off their floats and go into the center, and they dance on those stages.
It's so much fun.
And you can be in the center with them. And the people, there's dance moves that the characters do. And people learn the dance moves.
Yes.
And so the audience is doing the dance moves with the characters. It's incredible.
So I feel like the parades are like a party, right? Yeah. And it's interactive with the guests. And so it's nice to sit and watch a parade go by and you wave to the characters. This is on another level because you feel almost like you are part of the parade, like you are part of Disneyland. And it's just truly a magical feeling having that unfold in front of you. And to go along with their parades, what they do really great is the music.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up.
Oh, yes. Their music. They go above and beyond to have the catchiest tunes available to the point where this music is so good and it's so much fun. We listen to it at home.
And so there's a musical, there's like Eurovision. It's like this big, huge, I think it's a movie. I can't remember if that's what the contest name is. I think it's a contest. But like for all the European countries have these bands from all the different, they compete for the best songs.
Right.
And one of the things that the songs that generally win those contests are ones that kind of have like nonsensical lyrics or things that is just easy for the audience to come. It doesn't matter which language that you speak, that anybody can see. And Disneyland Paris has adopted that. And they have these songs, and it doesn't matter what language. Like, give us a sample, Amanda.
Whoa, whoa.
And it just keeps doing that over and over. Whoa.
Yeah.
I can't do it, but the whole crowd is singing that and it's very fun. And so it doesn't matter if you're speaking English, German, French, Spanish,
which is really smart.
Everybody, the whole audience is doing that. Whoa, it's so cool. I love their music.
Their music
I'm so glad
is
you brought
excellent.
That up. All right, let's move on to number 3. The number 3.
No.
Oh,
we didn't talk about the overall guest experience.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
So
you're
Disneyland Paris, the overall guest experience has some pros and it has some cons. Some cons that I'll talk about. It can be a culture shock from people coming from America.
Yes.
It is Europe, and so there are different cultures kind of coming into one. You have people from Germany, you have people from France, you have people from the Netherlands, you have
Spain
people
and
from all
everywhere,
over. And so different
England, everywhere.
cultures, if you don't understand or appreciate the different cultures, sometimes Americans have a hard time with the differences. A lot of times people will say, well, the cast members weren't super friendly, but we have had wonderful experiences with the cast members. You just have to understand that there's cultural differences.
I'm going to say this. For me, Disneyland as a child I have my most magical memories as a child at Disneyland.
Okay.
But as an adult, my most magical memories at a Disney park are Disneyland Paris.
Okay.
And I think that for me, that's just where the magic is very much alive there. There is a culture shock they're talking about, and usually what it is for Americans is smoking.
That's the next part I was going to
and it's
point out.
It's not that there's a lot of smoking. It's just that it's kind of shocking though. You see somebody all of a sudden light up a cigarette in the park, and it's not allowed. Smoking is not allowed in the parks, and usually cast members will run up there real quickly and tell the person to extinguish a cigarette. It's just a shock to see it,
and it does happen.
Yeah, and it periodically happens. So that's really the downside of that.
Yes, and I have some people would say too, maybe cleanliness isn't quite on par with some of the other Disney parks around the world. That has been another complaint. But overall, I've never had a personal experience with cleanliness being a problem. It's just differences. And then as far as like the value, I feel like the value though, let's talk about the pros. The value is excellent. The price for the park is really good. It can be a very affordable park to go to once you're in Paris. It can also be very easy to access. There is a 10-minute high-speed train from the airport, which is so convenient. And then also their fast pass system, I think, is also excellent. They have a premier pass that is very expensive. You can get on each ride, almost every ride, just once, or you can individually purchase a ride.
And this is what's I think the guest experience, though the value, the tickets aren't very expensive. Generally, and I tell this to people all the time, if you price it out, it's cheaper to go to Disneyland Paris than it is to go to Florida.
Right.
It's just the flights. You have to find a good flight deal.
Get there.
If you can get there, once you get there, you'll probably save money. It's really good. So it's awesome. I love it.
But going back to their fast pass system, I feel like it works. I feel like if you don't have a fast pass or their premier pass, you're still going to be okay waiting in lines. The lines seem to be moving and flowing. And I really, really appreciate that, as there are other Disney parks where their lightning lanes kind of make the normal lanes the normal lines really, really, really long. I don't feel that way at Disneyland Paris. And there are some rides that you want to pay for, some you don't, and you're going to have a great time no matter what you do.
Absolutely. All right. Are we ready to move on to number 3 now?
Yes.
I think we covered it all. Sorry, I forgot to talk about the guest experiences in Paris, but let's move on to the number 3 best Disney park in the world.
Drum roll. DisneySea.
DisneySea, which is located in Japan, Tokyo.
DisneySea.
Oh my gosh. And this, I think some people are going to come at you and say this should have been number 1.
I know, I'm ready for it.
And some people are going to be like, why is this even on the list? But what an amazing park. And so it is very unique. It's different than any other Disney park in the world.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm going to explain this in what I think it almost feels like to me, a Universal Studios park, Disneyfied.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It's like if Universal Studios and what park would go together with it to have a baby? Universal Studios and
I would just say Universal Studios, just Disneyfied.
Disney had a baby.
So and it's because when you get it, the theming, it's all about, rather than having lands like Disneyland, you have like ports, like it's like ports of ships and the different areas, the different ports, and it looks like this giant volcano in the center, and there's mountains all the way around it. It is very, very immersive. As far as atmosphere goes, and I think there's no better atmosphere of a theme park than
And as far as
DisneySea.
uniqueness, like you said, unique
Uniqueness,
is really the word for this park.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think it's so high on the list, is
So
because
their
the atmosphere.
atmosphere is unique.
It is.
Yes.
It's fantastic. It's very unique. It's different, and a lot of times when people, it's very clean, it's very fun, but it is very unique. So let's move on. The second thing is attractions.
Let's talk about the attractions at Tokyo DisneySea. They have, again, very unique attractions. Some attractions that you will not find at any other Disney park. The journey to the center of the earth, so unique. I did not know what to expect, and it's really cool.
So I would say this though. This is my take on this. I think Disney sees it's like Epcot. Epcot's food is so good it pushes
Mhm.
it into the top five. Disney Sea's atmosphere is so unique. It's so amazing. It pushes it into the top
Right.
five. The attractions in my mind at Disney Sea are good,
Okay.
not mind blowing. I mean, Disneyland Paris has way better attractions than Disney
I
Sea,
would agree.
but their attractions are kind of fun. They have like a Aquatopia rather than
Very
Autopia. It's
cute.
just cute, but these aren't really the most mind blowing attractions. You don't just go there just for the attractions. You go there for the atmosphere.
And their Tower of Terror is kind of unique, kind of
Yeah,
cool. I mean, really, uniqueness of this park is what
yeah,
stands out.
yeah, absolutely. And so then you move into the food there,
The
which
food, I would have to say their popcorn is
is so unique.
wonderful.
Yeah,
I think the food at Tokyo Disney Sea that I think of is their popcorn.
yeah, and because they have unique popcorn, you have to understand how unique their popcorn is that it's perfectly fine, and that it's not, it's like soy sauce and salt, and you've got Neapolitan
Curry,
and curry and these different flavors. They also have that,
berry.
berries and cream, and it's just so good. But they do have some really good restaurants there, and
Yeah,
so I would say that their food is probably better than most Disney parks.
right,
But they have some. I remember when we were there, it was raining really hard,
right.
and we were running, and just happened to run into this one restaurant, and we didn't know anything about it. We ran into the restaurant, and it was like a super nice restaurant, and the food was fantastic. So I'm gonna have to give really good experience with the food. All right, I do want to talk about shows though for Disney Sea for a second. So the shows.
All right, let's talk about the shows
Okay,
at Disney Sea.
the Disney Sea shows are there's the one, it's the Big Band Mickey. And the Big Band Mickey is so you have to, it's like this big bandstand, and it's so fun. And what happens is at the very end of the show, you can't videotape it. They don't allow videotaping in it. But at the end of the show, Mickey Mouse comes out and there's a drum set. And he pulls out his drumsticks, and you're just thinking like, "Oh, how cool is this going to be?" And you think he's going to do like a little beat, whatever. He sits down and he starts drumming, and then all of a sudden he goes to town. He is like doing this massive like rock, the drum solo. His head's bopping, and it's the coolest thing I think I've ever seen
So
Mickey Mouse
cool.
do. It's so fun, and it's awesome, and I love that. And so that is probably one of my very favorite shows.
Again, unique,
Yeah,
very unique.
yeah.
And then let's talk about the overall guest
Okay, yeah.
experience. Excellent.
I would say probably one of the best. Yeah.
And a guest experience for Tokyo Disney Sea cleanliness to me. I
Yeah.
mean, you could eat off of the floor. That
Yeah.
park seems so clean.
Yeah. And again, for me, the reason I'm assuming this is on the top five is the atmosphere. When you walk in, it is crazy.
Right. But going back to overall guest experience, let's talk about the cast members.
Yeah.
The cast members are flawless.
Oh yeah.
They go above and beyond to make your experience perfect.
I agree with that perfectly. Okay. Are you ready to move
Okay,
on?
but no, we
Oh.
actually can't move on because we haven't talked about Fantasy Springs at Tokyo Disney Sea. That's something that we haven't been to before.
Yeah.
That's a new addition, and I guess we have to share a little announcement that
I will be going to see the new Fantasy Springs when I go to Shanghai. I'm going to be stopping also at Disney Sea and Tokyo Disney and Hong Kong Disney.
Right.
We're going to visit all the Asian Disney parks, and I'm excited to see this Fantasy
to
Springs.
see what's new. And so that might bump things up on our list for us after that.
Yeah, I
We'll
think it
see
might.
what happens when we do our next video ranking all of the parks again. Maybe Disney Sea will get higher up on our list.
Ooh, all right. Okay. All right. Are we ready to move on to number 2?
Yes, the number 2 best Disney park in the world,
Yes.
drumroll,
Brrr.
is Disneyland.
Oh my gosh. I thought that was going to be number 1.
I know.
Disneyland. Okay. Disneyland for me is the OG. I think it's so interesting because every theme park around the world is compared against Disneyland.
Exactly. And I think most people would say that it should be the number 1 just
Mhm.
because it is the OG. There are some reasons why it bumped down off my number 1 list, which we'll talk about.
I
But
think I know what those reasons are, but I'm not going to say, but I think we'll get to it.
we'll get to it.
Okay. All right.
We'll
So
get
let's talk
to
about
it.
the atmosphere at Disneyland.
The atmosphere of Disneyland is magical.
Yeah.
It has that OG Disney magic, you guys. It is so magical. It's like they pump pixie dust out into the air. I don't
Yeah.
know how they do it, but the feeling that you step into for Disneyland is so cozy. It's so nostalgic.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful and warm. You just want to wrap yourself up like a warm blanket.
So I want to interject on this because we talked about Disney Sea has the most unique atmosphere of all
Mm-hmm.
the parks. Disneyland, though, has the best magic. Does that make
Right.
sense? When you walk into Disneyland, you can sense it. There's this magic in
I
Disneyland that's
know.
different than any other theme
They
park.
pump in the pixie
Yeah, the
dust.
pump in the pixie dust. It's where Walt has walked, and the pride is incredibly high. It is awesome.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, I just it's awesome. I love
The
that. Okay,
atmosphere, the park is beautiful.
yeah,
I feel like they really maintain it so well.
yeah,
It doesn't matter what season you're visiting Disneyland, it's going to be beautiful. It's
hmm
going to be special for each time of the year that you visit it. I love visiting it in the spring when the
yeah,
flowers are blooming on the trees. I love visiting it in the fall when it's Halloween time or
yeah.
Christmas
There's no
time.
there's no bad time.
Oh, it's just the atmosphere is just lovely. The music that they play is lovely. The scents and the smells
Yeah,
that they have in the park is lovely. Truly incredible atmosphere. You could just walk around and just enjoy your day without doing anything else.
yeah, absolutely. All
All
right,
right,
so
number 2, the attractions at
attractions at
Disneyland.
Disneyland. Yeah.
Classic.
Okay. I think the attractions at Disneyland are some of the very best around all
Hmm.
the Disney
They're
parks
classic.
in the world. You've got some unique attractions. The Matterhorn,
Right?
the Backcracker. It's so
Right?
funny because the Matterhorn is it looks so good too, just walking in and seeing it there. But sometimes I look at it. We're always like, do we dare do it
We
today?
always want to do it and then we regret doing it.
Yeah,
That's usually what
every
happens.
single time.
But
We're
it's
always
great because it's unique.
Yeah, it's very, very unique. It has some fantastic attractions. Of course, the original Pirates Caribbean, the
Hmm.
Haunted Mansion. They're all these are attractions, and we shan't forget the canoes.
Right.
I love, I love them, and I think the attractions there are very strong. It gives you a
They
very
have
strong
Walt
offering.
Disney
Yeah,
touches.
yeah,
Sometimes with the attractions, though, there are some things that need maintenance. There are
yeah,
some things that need to be fixed. And sometimes it takes a long time for those things to be fixed. I think of Indiana Jones needed some TLC. That snake
yeah.
needed TLC for a long, 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 long time. And
Fluffy.
so that's just a little con that I have to put out with the attractions is they break down a lot. And sometimes a lot of things aren't working and it might take some time to fix it.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. But I think their attractions they do have though are so good. It's worth it.
Right. The
I mean,
classics.
yeah,
Classic.
I'm gonna be curious though, what's gonna happen like when Indiana Jones opens up in Florida. Is this
Mm.
gonna bump up maybe Animal Kingdom in your eyes? Because I know that Indiana Jones, as far as you're concerned, that's the best
It's the
attraction.
best. I feel like Animal Kingdom would need Indiana Jones and Mystic Manor to bump up on a list.
Oh, okay, okay. So two. So because do you really Indiana Jones is your favorite
Oh, yeah.
of all of
Always.
the attractions? So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. There's no
No
contest.
contest there.
It's
Okay.
number 1.
Okay. And then let's talk about, yeah, and I think the attractions there are super fun. I mean, all of it. It's just fun to be around there. The Jungle
Hmm.
Cruise, I think Space Mountain is fantastic. I love their
Hmm.
Space Mountain. I love everything there. So, but we need to talk about food.
Food. Number 3, let's talk about food. Like I mentioned earlier, I used to never eat at Disneyland. It
No.
just wasn't what you did. Now I feel like they've really upped their food
Well, you
game.
talked about when you were little, your family would visit Disneyland.
Right?
And then when it came to lunchtime, you
We would
guys would
leave.
leave the park and go eat at the like, restaurants
Like
around
the
the
garden walk.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And then you would come back because your family just like they didn't feel like they like the food as much.
No, it was very expensive and bland. I think
Yes.
I even remember them saying like, "Well, we can get a hamburger here, but let's go get some good food. We're on vacation."
Yeah.
Now I want to eat at
Yeah,
Disneyland.
it's fun because I with your dad and I went one time,
Hmm.
and he was still the old mindset. It's like we don't want
Okay,
to
we
eat
have to
here.
leave
We
to
gotta
eat.
leave. He wanted some good food, and
Right.
I'm like, Dr. Taylor, there's some good food here.
Monte
And
Cristo
yeah, we
sandwich.
started going around and just getting all the good food. And he's like, his mind was blown. He couldn't believe how good the food was at Disneyland.
And I feel like most places that we eat, there's something for our whole family. I'm a vegetarian, and
Yeah,
I can find a salad or a plant-based meal at every restaurant that we order from. And there's something for our child,
yeah.
and there's something for you, Chris. And so we're covered no matter where we
The
eat.
other thing that Disneyland does better than I think all the other places, other than maybe Epcot, is their food variations.
Right.
And they made it even better at Epcot as far as variations because
Nah.
their food they always have something new every time you go to Disneyland. There's something new on the menu at Disneyland,
And there is a variety of
yeah,
restaurants.
massive, and it's so good. But I mean, yeah, and I'm just talking about special offerings. I think Disneyland has amazing special offerings.
Right. Right. I still think Epcot food is number 1
Oh
though.
yeah, oh no doubt. Epcot food is number one. I was just saying, I think Disneyland has special offerings more than any other park of just special offerings of foods.
Right, right. I feel like we go away from Disneyland stuffed, whether it's
Yeah.
meals or desserts or specialty drinks. it's wonderful options. Okay, shows. Let's talk about shows at Disneyland.
All right. So, of course, I think the main show at Disney, I think they have some fantastic shows.
Yeah.
The fireworks show,
Right.
of course. And then you have Fantasmic.
Right.
And these shows are amazing. Fantasmic is absolutely wonderful. And then their fireworks show, the way that Disneyland lights up Main Street with the projections is really second to none. But I will say this though, but their parades are not as good as like Disneyland Paris parades.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm excited because Paint the Night is coming back, and that is one of the best parades.
Right.
But what's interesting, exactly, you mentioned this. It's hard to explain until you see it. Disneyland Paris parades are a show. Like the audience, it's interactive. The audience, there people are dancing and they're clapping. And,
immersive.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Immersive. Disneyland's the parades are parades. People are watching and just waving at the princess. Yeah.
And I wish that they would somehow blend it in, but it could be a cultural difference too. Maybe most people visiting Disneyland are not going to sing along and not going to dance, whereas in Europe it works.
Yeah.
So maybe they can't bring something like that. Maybe it's a cultural difference.
So fun. But yeah, I think their parades at Disneyland are great.
Their parades.
But I love Fantasmic is so good. And I love their fireworks show.
And one of my favorites is Mickey's Mix Magic. I think that's a really fun show.
Yeah,
the music is fun with that one. I love the projections they do, like on Main Street. Their Christmas time things, they'll add snow, things like that.
Sure.
It's good. Their shows they're good.
Now we're getting into the number 5 reason for why Disneyland is in the number 2 on the list, and that's the overall guest experience. And I think you might say something else. We'll see. If you don't, then I'll bring it up.
Okay, so the overall guest experience to me are what brings it down. Should I talk about the cons?
Why it's tell me why it's Disneyland is not number 1, because I love Disneyland so much, so it's shocking to me that it's not number 1.
I have 2.
Okay.
The first one, it's the lightning lanes. I feel like their lightning lanes are a little difficult. If you do not have a lightning lane, you will be waiting in a very long line. You almost have to purchase a lightning lane or really work out your day. You have to be like a pro to work out your day to be able to skip the lines. So you kind of have to purchase a lightning lane or their huge new premier $400 lightning lane to really zip through the lines.
That's my one maybe my criticism of Disneyland, because I love Disneyland, is it does take preparation now if you want to get the most amount of attractions within a day. Whereas before you just go and go. Right. Now before you go, like
preparation
the mom
and money.
Yeah, the mom and the dad, they're learning how to use all that stuff, trying to learn to figure that out so that way they get the most amount out of it.
Even if you do pay for a lightning lane, you do have to still be prepared because you can pay for a lightning lane and maybe get like 2 lightning lanes in if you don't know how to work the system perfectly. And Chris has done breakdown videos that you guys can watch above that really help you plan, because even if you purchase the lightning lanes, you could do it wrong. On top of that, it's being on your phone. You have to be on your phone constantly at Disneyland more than most of their parks. I mean, Magic Kingdom at Disney World, but that's not even on our list. We didn't even talk about that. But
you just give spoiler. It's not number 1, Magic Kingdom?
No, it's not. But at Disneyland, you have to constantly be on your phone. This takes away from the guest experience, whether you're mobile food ordering, you're checking your lightning lanes, you're checking ride times, it's a lot. It's a lot of phone time, and that really takes away from the guest experience.
If you remove that little negativity or criticism of Disneyland, then do you think it would be number 1?
The phone and the lightning lanes, yes.
I agree with that. I think that's the only reason that Disneyland maybe is kind of scoots down the list.
Honestly, you're right. It would be probably number 1 by far if we didn't have to be on our phones all day and if the lightning lane system was better.
It's interesting to me because we're afforded an amazing opportunity when we go to the parks. We get to meet people from all over the world, and they come up to us and we get to talk to them and we get to hear it. And I always ask them, like, tell me you're having a good time. So I want them to have a good time. I want people to have a good time. And almost every time they're like, yes, I'm having so much fun. Then they always say, but man, I wish I didn't have to be on my phone. I wish I didn't have to do this. So that's the only thing. Yeah.
Well, and I need to clarify. I said if the lightning lanes were better. For me personally, if the lightning lanes were gone.
Gone. Okay.
And Disneyland Paris has that Premier Pass, but it works so much better. It works so much better. And if they wanted to keep doing a paid pass system, there are different ways to do it than the way that Disneyland has. Yeah. For me, it's not a great system. And if you don't have that lightning lane, you might have a horrible time.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready to move on to the number one Disney park in the world. This is number one. But before we get to that, do you want to tell people who've been watching this point, thank you so much for watching, about the giveaway?
Let's do it.
Let's
So
do the
to win
giveaway.
a $25 gift card
Yes.
from us, all you need to do, make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure this.
Well, I want to say this is a $25 Disney
That's
gift card. It's a
right.
Disney gift card.
Yes.
It can be used at any Disney park around the
Oh,
world,
yeah.
or
Or you
wherever
could go
or
shopping
even go
online,
Disney
merchandise.
shopping, merchandise,
Mhm.
whatever. Yeah, Disney stores. So it's a $25 Disney gift card.
That will be emailed to you.
Yep.
So it's very easy. Make sure that you're subscribed.
Yeah, you
Make
have to
sure
be.
that this video has been liked.
Yep.
Give it a thumbs up. And then leave your comment below which Disney park you feel like should be number one.
You can just say anything. You say it doesn't matter what your comment is. You say like I think Disneyland should be number one, or
That's perfect.
or I like Animal Kingdom should be number one, or Hong
Yes.
Kong. Doesn't matter. But what does matter in this giveaway is that because we use a little computer program that's randomly selects somebody
Right.
because we want to try to do no biases, right? So we use
Right.
but it makes sure that you are. It won't find you if you're not subscribed to the channel. So
Yep,
it
it's for
makes
subscribers
so
only.
you definitely want to be subscribed to the channel. So that way it'll go through, it crawls through that, and if we find you, if you are selected, then we will we'll respond to your comment to
Mhm.
let you know that we win, and then we'll have a little a dialogue through email, and then we'll email you that not Disneyland, a Disney gift card.
And just make sure that you don't respond. Ignore any other comments that don't come from us.
Yes.
Sometimes spam comments will come in and say, you're the winner and we need all your personal information. The comment will come from our channel directly.
It'll say Park Pass, and there'll be a check mark by it.
Yes.
We're the only one that has a check mark. If it says anything other than that, like some variation of that, then that's not us.
And if you submitted to win the giveaways in our previous two videos, those winners have been announced. So make sure that you check to see if we've responded to your comment.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to number one.
number
Ready? The
one.
number one Disney park around the world. Drum roll.
Drum roll. Tokyo Disneyland.
Tokyo Disneyland. I think people realized when Disneyland was number two that this might be the number one.
I think there were some guesses, especially because DisneySea was number 3.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people would put DisneySea at number 1. But Tokyo Disneyland to me stands out above the rest based on all of the little qualifications that we've been talked about. So let's break it down why it's number 1.
Yeah, and I think of those five the categories that you have, Tokyo Disneyland is consistently good or
Consistent.
amazing in all of these.
It's
Yeah.
consistent.
All right, so let's get to the atmosphere of Tokyo Disneyland.
That's a great point. Where some of the other parks really stand out in one category and lack in the others, this is consistent.
Because all the way across the board. Yeah.
Did I say koalifications like a koala bear?
Yeah, what was that?
That's what Miles and I say. Sorry. It's like a koala bear.
Qualifications.
Yeah.
All right. So Tokyo Disney. Let's talk about the atmosphere of Tokyo Disney.
Oh, wonderful. Magical. So clean. So beautiful.
And I'm going to have to say it is just awesome.
Mhm.
The only little tick down I would have on it
Mhm.
is it really is. It's like magic. It's like Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's really based, and it looks like the Magic Kingdom from Florida. So the uniqueness isn't quite.
The uniqueness
The
isn't
uniqueness
quite there.
isn't is there. That'd be maybe the one thing to take
Right.
you down is the uniqueness. It's not unique like DisneySea, but the atmosphere of everything else is just so awesome.
I almost feel like it feels like if Disneyland and Magic Kingdom had a baby.
You keep trying to.
There's lots of babies.
There's some
Babies
ba-
everywhere.
Yeah, babies everywhere. I would think that's a real. I think what it is you got the footprint of Magic Kingdom with the magic of Disneyland. Mhm,
Yeah, it's
perfect.
almost
Excellent,
like the
excellent way to talk
Magic
about it.
Kingdom genes are pretty strong, but
Yeah.
you still have, well, a little bit of genes of Disneyland in there.
Perfect, absolutely. Okay, so then the attractions.
The attractions, flawless, beautiful, perfect, working condition with some uniqueness in there.
Yeah.
I feel like they took the classic Disneyland attractions and made them perfect. They kind of
Mhm.
elevated them to the next level.
Yeah.
Even their Winnie the Pooh attraction. When we visited, Chris kept saying, we need to go ride Winnie the Pooh. And I said, no, I don't need to ride Winnie the Pooh. I'm at
Yeah.
Tokyo Disneyland. I don't care to. And he said, no, trust me. We have to ride every ride in this park, including Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
So I finally went on Winnie the Pooh, and you guys, even Winnie the Pooh blew
There-
my mind.
Well, that was because you and I had the exact same experience. Because the very first time I went to Tokyo Disney, my friend Professor Andrew said, "Make
Mhm.
sure you ride Winnie the Pooh," and I was like, 'cause
Winnie the Pooh.
I was thinking like Winnie the Pooh, like in Disneyland,
Disneyland.
which is fun attraction, but it's not a huge hitter, right? But their Winnie the Pooh is so good. And it's so unique, and the animatronics are so awesome in it. And I'm not a big Winnie the Pooh fan, but when I got off that ride, I loved that little bear. I was
I
like, I
know.
loved it. So
That's
yeah,
the point I'm trying to make. Even their Winnie the Pooh
yeah,
attraction is phenomenal. Absolutely
they're
phenomenal.
Beauty and the Beast.
Now let's talk about their Beauty and the Beast. The Beauty and the Beast is one of the best attractions in the world.
Yes.
In all of the Disney parks. It is so beautiful. It is so over the top. It is unique.
Yeah.
You sit in the little teacups. It's a trackless system. When the Beast came out, I was like, there he is. He's real. That's
There he
actually
is.
the Beast.
Yeah.
This is not an animatronic.
The only other attraction that could even give it, I think, a run for its money is Rise of the Resistance.
Okay.
Because Rise of the Resistance tells such a good story, right? You have a
Yeah.
good story.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast does the same thing.
Right.
The story is, you feel like you are in the movie.
Oh, it's real.
And
Yes.
you are, and like, we've been on that multiple times, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
at the end, when you're in the ballroom and they're dancing, people burst into tears. They
Yes.
start to cry.
That was my next point.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Is the first time we rode it, I
Yeah.
was crying tears. We have video of me crying tears. Grown
Yeah.
adults are crying.
Because it's just so beautiful
So
and so magical.
if you're able to ride an attraction that taps into your emotion in such a way that it brings tears, that's really priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful. And they like I said, their attractions are, all of them are great.
Wonderful.
I will say, like, Disneyland Paris, some of their attractions are just so good.
Right.
But Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland, all of them are great across the board.
All of them are great. They're all
across the board,
consistent
yeah.
with some phenomenal attractions
Yes,
like the Beauty and the
perfect,
Beast.
perfect. Okay, food.
Food, really good.
And I gotta talk. I think their food is, of course, we already talked about popcorn. They have the same popcorn offerings at DisneySea, but they also have like these really, one of my favorite little treats that they have there is they have that mochi.
I was just gonna say the moochie.
the little
The
green man. And they're the little green man, and they have little eyes on him. But one of them is vanilla, one of them is chocolate. The center of it is one's vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and you don't know when you bite into it, like which one you're gonna get. Plus, they have these amazing vending machines that are super decked out with really cool things throughout Tokyo Disneyland, and those are super fun. You get great things there, and their restaurants.
Udon noodles.
Oh, and udon noodles are that's if I could only probably eat one thing for the rest of my life, it's udon noodles. Those are the thicker noodles, the longer noodles. I love them, and their noodles there are so good, so good. I love it. Yeah,
Food consistent, solid, great,
absolutely wonderful.
Shows.
Okay, shows. The shows. I think this would be the only area in Tokyo Disney that maybe doesn't compete as high with every other,
like Disneyland Paris shows.
Yeah, Disneyland Paris. Their shows are fantastic. I have a fantastic memory, though, of one of their shows. Remember, they had the Disneyland Main Street Band came out, and they're performing in the little promenade area, like in front of the castle. And when they got done, I was by myself. I was there for the 40th, and I just started cheering crazily loud, like you do at Disneyland, right? And I think their culture is a little bit different. And I was like I was like, woo! I was screaming and yelling, and everybody's head like whipped over the crowd. They all, because everybody was clapping.
Guy.
Yeah, like, he was American. But the clarinet player, I remember he looked at me and we locked eyes and he bursted laughing. And we both started laughing. And their shows are they have good shows. They have some good offerings, like things to see. They have their parades. The fireworks are really good. But that would be the only area of Tokyo Disney that's probably not near perfect.
But what I will say about their shows that I think actually is perfect was the seating. Now, remember, we were seated. Was it for an electrical parade? Now I don't remember which parade it was, but we had dots to sit on.
So the parades are very interesting. Think of this as the one thing that's different, and this is maybe why we like them so much better, is that the parades, people sit.
Yes.
They sit on the ground.
Yes.
So you're sitting on the ground, and everybody brings their own little parade mats, right? So you have in their backpacks, they pull this little parade mat, they unfold it, they sit down on it, and then everybody sits. And it was I loved it because like the little kids would take their shoes off before they would sit on that little tiny mat. They keep their mats very clean. And then the shows would go by, and everybody sits there. It really makes it unique, so everybody gets a good view. So you don't have like a tall person standing in front of you, whatever,
or a child on the shoulders.
Yes,
which can cause problems, or you just can't see.
And the reason somebody puts a child, it's just right because you got a tall person, the child can't see, so you lift the child, put them on your shoulders, and that makes it worse for people behind you. So it just exacerbates the problem. But you have to do that. Disneyland, Tokyo Disney doesn't do that, and you can like on the app when you get there, you just reserve a spot,
right,
and for the parade. and you just reserve your spot, and they tell you to come to this little area at a time, and you go in, you show your reservations, and then they tell you a dot. They're like, "You're dot 103."
Right.
And you walk over to where your dot is, you sit down, and then you put your little mat, and that's your area
That
to
to me
sit and
is
watch.
wonderful. That to me is everything because it's organized. You have a great view no matter where you are.
Yeah.
So it's really that overall experience of the shows. The way
Yeah.
that they handle it is excellent, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the shows are
Excellent.
fantastic. The parades are really fun, but no matter where you're gonna get a good view because the way that it
Because the
is.
way it's
Yeah, yeah.
organized is
Okay.
wonderful.
So now we move.
Overall guest experience.
This is where I think Tokyo Disneyland shines above all.
Mhm.
Of all the parks, in my experience, I've ever experienced, their cast members are flawless at Tokyo
Mhm.
Disney. The best cast members.
Right.
And they and I love the cast members. I love all the cast members. So I just want to make that very clear. And I appreciate every one of you, all the hard work that you guys do, all of them. At Tokyo Disney, they are just all of them. The way that they stand, the way that they're in their lines, the queue lines, their outfits,
Mhm.
everything is like pressed and clean and like this, and they're standing at attention. And when you ask a question, they give you all of their attention, and they make sure it's a very unique experience, and I love it.
Mhm. They really treat you like royalty.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
a good thing to
when
say.
you're there, I mean, you're at a park with a castle, like you're at
Yeah,
that, immersive fantasy experience, and they really go above and beyond to treat you like royally, treat you
yeah,
respectfully. A lot of that is, the culture as well, but they seem to really take pride in making sure that the guests are taken care of. They go above and beyond. And again, we love all cast members. We
yeah,
have cast members from every Disney park in the
yeah,
world that we are friends with. We just at Tokyo Disney, they will treat you
yeah.
wonderfully.
It's just so different. It's just the way that all of them are there. The
Mhm.
other thing that I was gonna say that it's there. This is a really interesting perk, right? So Disneyland Paris, if you stay at a hotel, you get in an hour early,
Oh
which is
yeah.
just so amazing.
Hmm.
It used to
That's a
be
great
it
perk.
used
We
to be
should have talked
it
about
used
that.
to be 2 hours early.
Right,
Now it's only an
right.
hour early. So when I went to Tokyo Disney and I stayed at Disneyland, like at Tokyo Disney Hotel, they get you in 15 minutes early. And I thought, well, that's a silly perk. Who would care for 15 minutes? But then I realized what a big deal this is because people line up hours to get in before the park
Hmm.
opens up, and they have a special entrance just for the hotel guests. You get to go past all the people who are waiting, and you get in the park a little bit early, and it's
Exactly.
a really good perk.
It is a good
And
perk.
it's not, and then you make a beeline over straight to like Beauty and the Beast, and they're by the way, their Toontown there is amazing too. But that's a really unique perk that's awesome because then you get in there and you don't feel like you need that lightning lanes.
So
So
when you're there, I feel like we need to do an updated experience on
sure,
how
sure,
their lightning lanes are working out right now. But I felt like most of the rides that we were waiting for, the lines moved.
yeah.
And so it made it a nice, pleasant experience.
Yeah. And this is, you guys, this list might change because I'm
Yeah.
gonna go back to when I go back to Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Disney and see the Disney the Fantasy Springs, all
Yeah.
that. This list can change a little bit. We were just at Disneyland Paris. Love it. My most
Right.
treasured memories are probably Disneyland Paris, but I think it's a
It might
fantastic.
change. It might switch around. And then at Tokyo Disneyland, the cleanliness
Yeah.
is second to none. Even in the restrooms, they have like rushing waterfall sounds. It's so clean. You won't find a speck of dirt anywhere. It just sparkles.
And I think that also has to do with the culture. The
Yeah.
culture. And I wanted to share an experience I saw where I witnessed this. And I was like, this is a difference between maybe Japanese culture versus American culture. I was on a bullet train, and the bullet train in Japan,
Hmm.
and there's a Japanese businessman. He had fallen asleep. He had eaten some food. He had fallen asleep, and the train pulled into his stop. And all of a sudden, his little alarm woke him up, and he looked, and he woke up maybe a little bit later than he thought because the train had pulled in. You have like 90 seconds to get off the
Yeah.
train, and then it takes off again. He jumped up. He was running out the train. All of a sudden, he stopped. He turned and came back, picked up all of his garbage,
Oh,
and then he ran and barely made it off the
mm.
the bullet train. And I was like, in America, I don't know if somebody would come back just to pick up their garbage because they would
I
be too
don't.
worried about missing their stop. He would, if he misses a stop, he's got another 45 minutes till the next stop. And so I thought that was really unique, and I loved that. That's a memory I will never forget. I think that's just it's just cleanliness is a very high priority, and it really shines the Tokyo Disneyland. You could
It
see it.
sparkles.
Yeah, it sparkles.
It sparkles. All right. Well, tell us what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Which Disney park do you feel like is number one? Make sure that you are subscribed. Leave that comment so you can win. And
Be
then
kind in the
again,
comments too.
Oh, yes, because
Always.
your opinions might vary from others
Yes,
or
yes.
ours, and that's
That is
okay.
okay. And if you do get a heart on your comment, that's from Amanda.
And then stay tuned because like Chris said, this list might change when he visits Shanghai for the first time,
Yeah.
checks off that last Disney park, and then he does updated videos on Tokyo Disneyland, Tokyo DisneySea, and Hong Kong Disney as well. So we have a lot of exciting things coming up
Yeah.
on our channel. Make sure that you stay cozy, and then we'll do a power ranking of all the Disney parks.
We'll do it. You guys,
Dun,
thank you
dun,
so
dun.
much. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun,
Hey,
dun.
guys. Oh, that's too many dun duns. So you guys make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to be eligible for the giveaway.
We have discount Disney tickets for 3 out of the 5 parks that we talked about today. If you would like to visit Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, or Epcot, click the link below to book or call 1-855-GETAWAY, mention Provost Park Pass, and they will hook you up with the best Disney vacation packages for these awesome destinations.
We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tokyo Disney is my favorite.
And I like Disneyland Paris.
And I think Hong Kong's great too.
Maybe Hong Kong will make the next list.
You never know. Thank you, Patreon. We couldn't do these videos without you.
We couldn't without you.